I just ran out of coffee preparing for this live stream, but they say caffeine stays in your bloodstream for 8 hours or longer sometimes. So hopefully I will not run out of energy. Welcome to another live. It's live number 7 out of that 30-day challenge with myself that I set up. Today, we're going to talk about treating video as or video content as your top sales rep. I will have divided it into 3 different parts. First part are the benefits of doing that and why you should consider doing that. Part 2 are ideas, 10 content ideas that you can implement into your business. And then we have some founders and leaders who are active, posting actively, from major multimillionaires to actually multi-billionaires, or being even a richest person in the world and still posting content, why it matters and how you can apply it to your business. We're going to talk about that today. So I'll be partially reading, partially sharing some stories of it. And also I will add here and there some ideas how you could leverage on top of essentially the benefits that we have here. And also, if you will consider yourself an interesting person, you have a business or you're a director, executive at a business that is growing, you would like to share your story, how you got into the industry, why you got into the industry. So tell some interesting stories from your career so far. Personally invite you to my podcast, The Quiet Work, where we talk exactly about that. We'll have 45 to 90 minutes or longer if needed. Good conversation that turns into content, authority building content that you can leverage for your personal branding and even for your company page. I have a guest that posted that content on Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube that gives you search engine optimized content as well. If you describe it right, if you name it right. And fun fact, not a fun fact, it's a fact. Recently, Instagram will be, the info is out that Instagram will be helping you with ranking as well. So it looks like Instagram and Meta is moving towards the search option, just like ChatGPT is right now. If you're looking for a solution, type it in ChatGPT. It gives you immediate options that you can go straight from ChatGPT to the landing page and purchase a product or look into a service, book a call. So that is also the direction that Meta is taking, which is obviously very smart. So even if you post on Instagram and you think your clients are not on Instagram, they're not on TikTok, those videos are relevant, and Google will push you those videos as well. They will rank as well as your YouTube videos. So yeah, that's it. Let's move on with the benefits. Part number 1, this video content sells your reputation beyond the room. As you know, word of mouth is extremely powerful, and I've met pretty much all of the 44 guests that I've interviewed and the 150 plus founders I spoke with last year in 2024. They all would say that if you could apply the 80-20 rule, 80% of the clients came through word of mouth. So that just means that you're doing an amazing job and people love what you deliver. And that's great. No one is taking that away from you. We just want to create demand generating content that helps you expand beyond word of mouth, which is much harder to convince someone to give you their money, whether it's low ticket, high ticket, or extremely high ticket, 6-7 figure contracts, to give you money if they don't know you. And that's what really helps you. And content, I believe video content helps you do that. So video lets thousands meet you before even shaking your hand. That means that if you have videos, even if you have just a few videos on everywhere people would look, or your potential prospects will look for you, that is Google, YouTube, LinkedIn, just 3 platforms, right? If you have that video in a featured section that explains what you do, and again, not in like super crazy production, Hollywood style production, just raw, authentic video about you yourself, that alone can help you tremendously by the time they get on a call with you or your team. It shortens the sales cycle because you can do the convincing part. You can convince them about your solution by answering their questions that they will have on their call prior to the call. So that's my favorite part of it. Right? If you know that you have 10 questions that constantly show up on those calls with your prospects, why not record a lot of content about that and post it so they can they can answer those questions essentially before they even get on a call with you. And that's why I believe it can shorten your sales cycle, build trust at distance. I talked about it yesterday. Even if you still want to invest into shaking hands, flying over to meet your clients, going on those conferences, it's all great and still relevant. I love the fact that we are still maintaining that human-to-human connections, but this can help you actually build trust at a distance. So by the time you meet people, they already know you. And fun story here, I had one client. It was a SaaS company who was starting out. They were looking for product market fit, but they had enough funds to buy a booth, invest in a booth at a show. So that's what they did. And before the show, they wanted to obviously leverage build essentially their authority somewhat, and get known with other vendors and guests at this show before that, right? So we established a newsletter. We literally we invited the vendors and guests we know are going to attend through social media. There's obviously a lot of, like, for example, there's a bunch of shows that make you promote the show once you purchase a ticket. So that's how you know they're going to attend, right? Simple as that. Long story short, they had a list. We got maybe, I don't know, 50 to 100 people on their newsletter. We just started it out. It was a brand new newsletter. We set it up. We did what we needed to do. And at the show, there were people. I should say it for context as well. We shared some personal stories about the two founders that were present at the show, at the booth. And people walked to them, approached them, and they knew about the founders surprisingly a lot. And that opened so many different conversations, because by the time that the newsletter recipient, saw the booth, he already knew who was behind the company, and they could start a conversation. So yeah, I hope that was this story, and didn't bore you with that story, but it worked. So even at a small scale, you can leverage video content, and you can leverage your voice to get in front of people. And you can even include videos that you would record in your newsletter. That's why I shared it as well. You can record it. You can share it on your LinkedIn featured section. You can have a YouTube channel with 5 videos. So it's easy for you and your team to share it. Just one click and you share it with your prospects. You can use those videos in your outbound. So when someone responds positively, expresses interest, or signs up on your website, requests more information, you can send them those videos. Positions you as the industry authority. If you show up often enough, obviously, you will be the go-to expert. It reinforces your premium positioning, because you are providing a lot of value through that content. They perceive you as a leader, as the authority in the space, and that is how you can demand premium prices. Creates evergreen sales assets. I just mentioned multiple options for you, how you can do that. Educates the markets in your own way. So a lot of times there's myths around your solution, and you can break those myths and essentially tell it from your point of view. Help recruit top talent. This is something also very important. In fact, there's a new YouTuber on the block who's growing super fast, and he's running a business that generated historically 75 plus million in the info product space. And he is doing that mainly. He's essentially posting one video a day for the last, I believe, 38 days or something like that. I saw his recent video and I saw the number 138. So I imagine that's that's the amount of days he's been posting so far. And that's the most recent one. Long story short here, he uses it to really attract, first of all, network, and second of all, attract talent. So if people that are looking, obviously LinkedIn is a recruiting platform from the get-go. That's how you still see people that highlight in their experience section that LinkedIn has helped them find that job and lock in that job. So that allows you to really reach great talent you would normally not get in front of, because your video, you don't know who's watching those videos. So even if you have 100 impressions per video or 1,000 impressions per video, there might be that top person, the top talent in the industry that wants to join your company, and you don't even know about that. Turns existing clients into amplifiers. That's another great thing. If you post, include your clients in it, it creates that compounding snowball effect that essentially you want to join the cool kids table. You want to sit at the cool kids table, join the cool kids club. And that's the way to do it. If you're creating videos and people respond to those videos, people comment under those videos, you create that little community, including your clients, it will help you just reach more people. And now then, if you notice, LinkedIn, the share a LinkedIn post is a new feature. It came from Twitter, from retweeting. You have that now on, I believe, even on YouTube, and also on Instagram. And you can actually on Instagram include a person that you did a video with or post with so that it shows on both feeds. So that just gives you that spiral, that snowball effect, the compounding, almost compounding effect, because those videos continue to rank, continue to be shared and reach more new audience, right? So it's a powerful tool. Future proofs your marketing, LinkedIn, YouTube, podcast. You don't have to do a podcast, but that builds your own media company almost internally. It allows it to really grow over year. And that's another asset, something that I actually don't talk about often, but it builds your equity. It's almost like, yeah, it adds to your equity because it increases the value of your company. And actually, yeah, I remember one of my guests shared it with me that he interviewed someone who exited his company for significant amount was multiple 8 figures. And personal branding, the fact that they have that content engine inside of their team has helped them reach a significant multiplier I have never heard of in that industry. So yeah, that company scaled and sold significantly because of that. So that compounds. And Alex Hormozi actually is the same story because he was the face of the company, was an info company, which is it's unusual to hit that exit velocity with that in that space when especially when you're the face of the company, but they figured it out and it worked out pretty well for them. So now on to 10 content ideas for you. State of our industry, your perspective on trend, challenges, and opportunities. That's probably going to be your favorite topic idea or content idea that you could talk forever. So I'll leave you at that. Behind the scenes decisions, how you approach strategy, hiring, and big pivots. That's a good one. Client transformation stories. That's a must. A must. You can even do it anonymously. You don't have to mention the client. Up to you and your relationship with your client, but that's just super powerful. Objection handling, that's my favorite. So because I don't see it anywhere really. I haven't seen it yet, where you literally analyze your sales goal. And I saw a post on LinkedIn recently where someone was looking to hire a sales analyst for between 100 and 140,000 annual salary, plus the benefits and 401k and all the good stuff. So I was shocked and surprised. But if someone is willing to pay 6-figure salary for just to analyze your sales calls and essentially your sales team and their performance, why not leverage it for content and have your sales team create that content in their own point of view? Have everyone on your company create content as much as possible. That compounds and adds to it. So objection handling is powerful. I have a lot of playbooks on that. So if you need a playbook on that, be shared with you, then personalize it to your own company. Lessons from a decade in the game. If you've been in multiple decades or just a few years in the game, you have some stories to share. Scars and wins, your operating principles, the philosophies that you use, values. Why not talk about values? I had a guest who used their core, I believe 3 or 4 core company values as an acronym for the company name. Why not talk about it? It's interesting, gets attention, it sets you apart from all other competitors that don't do it and don't show up online. Get myths. That's a good one, obviously. That taps into the education part of it. Big mistakes you see buyers make, educate them before they waste money and time. That's especially if you're part of a low trust industry, that can really work well because it will take a long time to educate and break those myths and essentially talk about those mistakes, which is a great content idea. And a lot of companies I see are afraid to talk about those mistakes because of the low trust element. But that will essentially, if you flip it, that will give you a lot of attention because no one else does it. Tool stacks and processes depends on your structure of the or essentially your company industry. This might help. And future predictions, that is definitely a big one, especially if your predictions are accurate and you can prove it. That's a great way to do it. You have it set in stone. You set it on YouTube, LinkedIn, wherever. You can repost it a year later and show your clients that, hey, my predictions were pretty good and accurate. So some examples moving on from business world. Reid Hoffman, he is obviously the LinkedIn guy. He is posting on LinkedIn and a lot of videos. He has podcasts. He's constantly active on LinkedIn. Mark Anderson, he writes a lot and shares content on mostly on X, but I believe he's not I believe, I know that he's also posting a lot of stuff on LinkedIn. Sam Altman, the AI guy, he's constantly showing up on some podcasts and shares his ideas how he's allowing his creative juices to flow. That's just some episodes I listen to, and all kinds of really interesting content you would not think an AI guy would tell you about, and yet he's where he is right now, and it's pretty cool to see how he is approaching growth, his leadership philosophy, and all that. And writing, for example, without ChatGPT, Elon Musk, that's the billionaire I mentioned. I mean, I have no idea how he handles it time wise. If it's him, if not him, I don't know. But it definitely sounds like him. So his ghostwriter is doing a great job if that's his ghostwriter. And he's constantly posting stuff on X. Sarah Blakely, great stories. She always shares some great stories and principles. Brian Chesky. Then we have some B2B enterprise examples that I'll share in a second. Founder of HubSpot, Jason Lemkin. I came across Jason literally today as I was doing my research. I had no idea of his existence, but his really cool stories and really cool content. I'll share an example in a second. With Chris Walker as well. So here's some more examples. Alex Hormozi, obviously, he is looking for maybe a few partners a year, and he's putting more content than probably 100 companies and founders all together, if you could light it up. And he got this advice from Grant Cardone, who's posting content because it's free. So why not post more and more and more? And one thing that is hard at that level is to maintain the quality of your posts. But obviously, they're growing rapidly. Acquisition.com is growing so rapidly, and he's attracting great talent. He's attracting clients. He's monetizing it, of course, and also promotes the companies that he's acquiring. So Sendpar is another great example of why it's important to build your own media company. Here's a funny, cool post from the founder of HubSpot, Ramesh. And this is the post from Jason here, which I wish I recorded a short video, but I screenshotted it apparently. But what was cool about it is that he is actually demonstrating in that post how this AI tool works. And that's the best way. If you can demonstrate how something works in an authentic way, this is not like crazy production video or whatsoever, but this video can I mean, a lot of his potential clients can relate to. It's probably some questions that they have in their head that you can answer just by demonstrating. So yeah, definitely pays off to do that. And that's it. Again, if you'd like to have a more personalized plan on how to build that content engine into your company, happy to provide more insights. Just send me a message. Promise to respond in a timely manner. And I see you tomorrow. Thank you.